Bonjour, bonjour, comment allez-vous, and je vais très bien. How is everybody? Well, we hope everybody had a great week, and we're glad that you're here. We got a good discussion for you tonight. Last week we talked about the powerless and the powerful. All right? It was a good discussion, so if you missed it, you can check it out on my page on Facebook. They won't allow me to put anything over an hour on TikTok, so you have to check out my Facebook page. But it's all there for you. And I think you enjoyed it as much as we did. But without further ado, listen, we're going to have a discussion tonight. We're going to talk about that poverty line. How do you get above it? And how did you get there in the first place? And how do we get out of it? All right? But I'm going to bring my co-host on. But before I do that, in our usual fashion, you got to have your drinks. And that's to help you digest what we got going on. And guess what? It's a beautiful day to be alive. So here's to everybody on our live. And we hope you all had a great week so far. And if you didn't, we're here to make it better. And I'm telling you, don't worry about it because it gets better. Trust me. All right. Okay, I did my thing. I invited him. Hey, Keith, what's happening, boss?
Yo, what's up, OG? Here multitasking real quick. What's good with you though?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I can't complain. Let me see, can I get the Joy on in here? I hit her one time. But anyway, yeah, like we said, we had a good discussion last week, and it was about the powerful people and powerless people. So I think you'll get a lot out of that if you take a moment to go review it. All right?
Hey,
Hey, Jordan.
you didn't get my message while you was up there playing Luther.
No, I'm too
Said
good
I'm
to
gonna be
watch
right
sports.
back. You see that down there? I said I'm gonna be right back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I heard you talking about me. Let me see if we can get the joy in here.
Hey, well, look, I can't. How can I read and unless it scrolls up? See, on Facebook, I can see it because it scrolls up. This is
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm up in here now.
all
I'm
right.
up
So
in.
forgive me. All right,
Okay. One time I'm gonna forgive you.
all right. But how was your day so far, anyway?
Everything is just I can't complain. Hey, I'm blessed. I can't complain. You just gotta let the universe take over and go with the flow.
Amen. Amen. Just
So that's
follow
what I've been
suit
doing. Yep.
and keep a positive attitude, and everything always works out right.
I've been following my guide.
There you go. That's the key to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. We ready.
But anyway, before we get started, I just want to drop this one jewel. And and it's about overthinking. Listen, we got all kind of stuff going on in the world today, particularly in the United States. Uh, but sometimes we can overthink things, and it's unnecessary to do so. So I just want to speak a minute on that. When we overthink, we're just using too much energy for nothing. It's wasted energy. And the thing is, most of the things that we do in our lives, it don't require a lot of thought. Most of the things that we do through repetition. They are routine and done out of habit. So we don't have to think a lot about our daily activities. So a lot of people overthink things when there's no need to, and the results turn out to be less than desired anyway. Simple and the most complex things don't even require a lot of brain power or thinking, breathing, you know, waking up in the morning, being happy. It don't require a lot of thinking. So all of these people who are worrying about their SNAP benefits and uh, welfare and food stamps and all that, those are things out of our control, and I guarantee you we're going to be all right. Sometimes you have to suffer, but it's always for the greater good. So keep that in mind when you start digesting all these different things that are happening in the United States right now. We got a lot of disagreements, and I don't see why it's that difficult to do the simplest of things, but those things are out of my control. So things that are out of my control, I give it to my creator, the grand architect of the universe. And he's got me, like your big brother would say, he's got me. So don't worry about all these different things that are happening, okay? Now, let's get on to our topic. Our topic is, how do we get out of poverty, and why is it difficult for most people to get out of it? Is it listen, a lot of people are going to say it's income inequality. We don't have enough money. But I guarantee you that's not it either. Because there have been many, many, many occasions where people have had a lot of money. And right now they're broke. I watched the Allen Iverson story last night, and it kind of touched me because I know how he had to feel when things started crumbling for him. So you got an opportunity, even if you have the opportunity and you're one of the chosen few to succeed in life, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to stay above that poverty line. You know, we had people that had to borrow money who we thought were millionaires, multimillionaires. So it's not the money alone that keeps you out of poverty. And we're going to give you some of the reasons that are necessary, some of the things that are necessary so that you can, if you are able to get out of a state of poverty, you can stay out there. All right? So, all over the internet, we see people starting businesses, involving themselves with all kind of opportunities. But most people never change their lives. I remember not long ago, but when they had the PPP program.
All them people's in jail. They changed their life. They changed it because they in jail. You need to reach. They changed it because they was illegal. Some of them was illegal, and they did learn one
show out
thing.
tonight now.
Orange and black is they new color. All them. And
Yeah.
some people still getting got that didn't get got from back
But
then.
look, you remember when they first said that there was widespread fraud, they had this big campaign on all these people going to jail, right? Now, no doubt, we know some people probably did, but the vast majority of those people didn't go to jail. I guarantee you.
Yeah, well, I was smart. I got me a shirt machine. I learned how to make shirts, baskets, everything. Not these people. At least if you got the PPP loan, PPED, whatever it is, all them letters, you could bought you a house and start you a bank account and invest it. No.
Well, that's why we're here tonight. We're going to talk about that. Why did those people do that? If you get an opportunity to get above the poverty line, then nine times out of 10, the people who aren't educated, the people who don't have a real vicious circle of love and people who really care about, they end up in the same place.
Bro, I've been the richest person in an orange jumpsuit ever. Shoot.
Well, I mean, and that's another dynamic. Let's say that you're above the poverty line. If you are in a cage, is that really being above it?
I mean, it would have built up interest. I'm just saying, you got to learn them. I've been listening to y'all talk about them commodities, and I like the word paymaster. So I would have been the richest jailhouse paymaster ever. I'm telling you right now. Okay,
That's funny.
I'm gonna be good. I
That's
learned that one word.
That's funny.
Thanks for the gift. But look,
You welcome.
Listen, the bottom line is this, that poverty is not just about money. Now, of course, is a very big component, of being able to afford services and goods. And that's what money does for us. It allows us to buy products and services, right? So, but why are these people who start all these businesses, particularly in this day and age where you've got the internet and you don't have to have a lot of skill to become successful? But most people do not make it past the poverty line, even when they have opportunities to do well or to accumulate money.
Well, for one, they don't change their mindset. That's for one. They don't. You got to change your mindset. You got to change your habits. You got to change your ability to manifest things. This, that, and the third. Because you remember that one time when I had all that money, then I said somebody had stole my money, and then you had to really explain to me that they really didn't steal my money, but I really owed them, and just because they got it all when they had known that I had the money, they didn't steal it. I'm just saying, so I had to change my. I was
Hey, Chief,
upset.
I ain't gonna talk about that too much. But
I was
anyway, one
upset
time,
though.
several years ago, right? Now,
I was tore
listen,
up, boy.
if you owe people money, right, particularly
They
the federal government,
they
and
stole
they
it because they
take
got
and
it when I
they
wasn't
and
ready.
you get a big lump sum of money, and they take their money, that's not stealing.
But I
She was
wasn't ready. But
upset,
see,
bro.
back
She
then,
was
look,
upset. She was like, almost to tears,
I
saying
was
that they stole her money. And I said, send me the stuff. Let me take a look at it. And come to find out, come to
I
find,
forgot.
she had been owing them. And they just took the money when it was came about. Now it was inconvenient because you weren't expecting it, but
It
they
was at
can
the
still
wrong
do it.
time.
They do it all the time.
It was at the
Yeah.
wrong time. No, they
Oh,
ain't did that
oh,
to me no more. But I'm
oh.
just saying. I'm
Yeah,
just
you
saying.
got
You
the
know, you
lesson.
gotta change.
If you
You
learn
gotta
the
change
lesson,
all of
that's the most valuable thing. Okay.
and then people get money and stuff, and they don't, like I was telling my son, I'm like, listen, if we gonna get together and we gonna be doing this together, like just because you owe or you moving from one stage of your life to the next, that don't mean you pay out all of your money trying to get past that stage, because you're gonna be back in that same stage. You gotta decide what's priority right now. Okay, I need to move on from this. Let me make arrangements for ABC. A lot of people, you had to tell me that. I don't usually tell y'all the lessons that he done taught me, right? I had that poor man's mentality. So I thought when I get my tax refund or I make my $1,500 quota on Facebook or with my shirts, I'm like, okay, I gotta pay this bill, this bill, this bill, this bill. Guess what? When you die, them bills gonna still be there, but you gotta live. So you have to learn how to just you have to learn how to what's the word you be telling me how to what's the word you said?
You got to
Anyway,
learn
it means
how to
pay what's
adjust.
necessary. Pay what's necessary, but
But
you
listen,
still gotta live.
but listen. The lesson is not to accumulate bills and not pay people. That was
I
not
mean,
the
I
lesson.
did pay bill, but I couldn't just take all my money and just give it away. But now, if it's Uncle Sam I owe, oh, they getting every dime. But everything else we
Okay.
can make arrangements.
All
I'm
right.
just
Check
saying.
this out. Check this out. The vast majority of people who are afforded an opportunity to get out of poverty end up back in poverty because they are not educated in the world of finance. That's number one. Number two, they don't understand what financial freedom is. All right. Having a lot of money is not being wealthy. Trust me. Having a lot of money is not being wealthy. When you have diversified your wealth, then you are considered wealthy once you reach a certain threshold. And the reason I say money is not only what entitles you to call yourself wealthy. What happened? Money is on a piece of paper. Now, of course, it's got value. All right. So, what happens if that bank closes, or if there's something that happens in the economy where the dollar loses value? I always explain, and I learned this early in life. A lot of people look at, all right, I'm gonna start me a 401k, and that's fine. I'm going to start me a mutual fund. And that's fine. But that still doesn't get you out of poverty if you're teetering on that poverty line. The education is the most important thing because you have to learn and understand money. Once you understand it, then you know how to use it effectively. People get themselves in debt, and we're going to all die in debt. I guarantee you. Don't none of us get out
You're
of
gonna
here
owe somebody when
unscathed.
you leave here.
Excuse me?
You're gonna owe somebody when you leave him.
But guess what? Guess what people who understand money do? They have what we call good debt. There's a difference between bad debt and good debt. Bad debt does not drain you any value, does not change anything in your financial condition. Good debt allows you to expand and grow your money.
Wait a minute. When you say debt, because now I'm asking you this seriously, because when you say debt, sometimes I think of everything bad, like what I owe. So a lot of people don't understand that there's a
No.
differentiation in the type. So explain that.
Okay. Let me explain it. Listen, bad debt, you go buy a car, and because you have bad credit, you're paying 24% in financing charges.
Hmm.
That's bad debt. If you buy a house and the going rate for mortgages is 3%, 4%, or whatever the average is, and you end up because of whatever condition, because you don't understand it, because you don't know any better, you
Hmm.
buy it because you're happy to get a house, and you buy it at 6%. That's bad debt because it doesn't grow; it gets you further in debt. Now,
Right.
let's say I've got 4 gold bars
Hmm.
in the bank, and that gold, let's say, is worth $4 million. Right now, if I take that gold, I'm going to leave that gold in the bank,
Hmm.
and I'm going to go to the bank and I'm going to borrow on that gold. I'm going to borrow $10 million on that gold, and they'll give it to me.
Right. Because you
That's
got that.
good. That's good debt. Why? Is because now I've got my uh, asset collateralized. So they're
Okay.
using my gold, which is going to remain in my possession, remain in my ownership, and they're going to give me money. Now, if I take the $10 million that I borrowed and I lose it, or I do something ignorant, then that's bad debt too.
I think the worst thing for me, I don't know if this sound like prejudice or whatever, but I'm not because I'm really pro black for my people or whatever. But I think like especially in the black community, we don't we don't take those lessons or I guess
Nobody's
financially.
teaching it, Miss O'Neill. Nobody's teaching it because the people who are rich don't want you to know, and the people
Okay.
who have stumbled across it, they haven't learned, so they become selfish with the information, and they don't want to tell anybody. Let me say this. Let me give another aspect to show the difference between how people think with money and how people think who are at the poverty line or below it. I belong to a company, right? And or let's say I own a company. Now let's take this to a small business perspective. I own a company.
Hmm.
What I'm gonna do, I'm not going to be an employee. Why? If I'm a $10 million company and I am an employee, I pay taxes on my salary, right?
Right.
No matter how much it is, I'm pay taxes. But guess what? If I'm the owner, this is what I would do. This is what my infinite wisdom and being blessed with some understanding. I'm not going to even take any money. What I want stock in the company. Pay me in stock, right?
Because why? It keeps growing.
Because number one, I ain't got to pay no taxes.
Oh.
That's,
I mean, dang. Okay, well, I'm just saying,
think
y'all.
about it. Because I have a stock option. So all of these corporations, they have to offer it by law, right? And the big boys, they get more than what is made public, but at the same option, even if you take a salary, you can take part of it in salary. That's going to reduce your taxation, and you're going to have stock or ownership in the company, right?
Yeah, Mr. G, they don't understand what you mean when you say take part of it in salary. So the other thing that he's saying is that when you own a company or companies, you make yourself an employee of that company. So you take a salary from that situation, and then it's combined, if it makes sense what he's saying. So he's saying don't take all of it in the salary. He's saying take a salary, but take the rest in stock options, if that's how you can set it up. Charles Barkley said it best. He said Michael Jordan gave him the best advice when he signed that deal with Nike. Michael Jordan said, take $1 million in cash, take the rest in stock options.
Right.
Barkley,
I mean, the plus stock keeps growing, though,
he said
right?
that was
Stock.
the best advice he
Oh,
ever
yeah,
got.
yeah.
Charles Barkley.
If,
You know what I'm saying?
look at it this way. If you have, number one, we need to learn about what ownership is, because ownership is key to growing wealth. You ain't gonna ever get wealthy if you don't own anything. So even in a small company, as a small entrepreneur, right? If you set up your company with the employees, the board, all those things, right? There are ways legally that you don't even have to take a salary at all. But, and I don't want to get too deep into all of that, but there's a way that you pay your bills, you pay for your house, you pay for your food, and you avoid taxation, you avoid liability, and you avoid a lot of things that we don't quite understand because of the laws, and the laws are forever changing. But at the same time, whenever you operate in a place where all you know is that I gotta be an employee, I gotta work this job, then you're never gonna get above the poverty line if you're not making a living wage. Working at minimum wage will never get you there.
And
So,
see, let me just say this, like, because you give us financial classes in the lodge, and
right,
things like that. So, above, and this series, y'all, I had to learn, at 30, 40 something, 30 something. I'm just learning. I ain't 30 now. I'm 52 now, so it's been few years. But let me just clear that up. I had to learn the idea of being rich or wealthy. Because if you asked me years ago what I'd rather be, I want to be rich. I want to be rich. I want this. I want that. But once I started listening to when we have classes in the lodge and just reading about finances, I'd rather be wealthy because that's continuous and wealth continues to grow. Once you rich and you have all this money and you throw it around, you don't have that anymore. But if you buy stock, if you learn to buy stock, or you purchase art, or you purchase things that are wealthy, that value continues to grow over time.
yeah,
So
the biggest thing is getting out of the mindset, as you said initially from the on start. Get out of the mindset of getting a check, getting
yeah.
paid. You know what I'm saying? Living in a way where the only thing that you're looking forward to is a check at the end of the week.
But
Now,
that's how society traps you though. Cause you and
exactly.
I talk about that all the time. Like, and I'm transparent, here because I don't really care because y'all know me in real life, like to tell me I make 54,210, right? They say, okay, the joy, for you manage two schools, this and the third, and your salary is 54,210. Well, that's not truly my that's not truly what I live off of because by the time insurance come out, your taxes and all of that stuff, literally you have what roughly $1,000, maybe 12 or 1,300, or to survive off of, for 2 weeks. So, people get so confused and they hear these big dollars, 60,000, 80,000, and when using myself as an example, as I just did. But that's how the government, that's how people trap you because that's not your living
Well,
wage.
the
I,
thing
I
is,
had to learn
you
that.
can't be confused with minimum wage and a living wage. Now, there's a difference when people try to live above their means. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people who are honest, hardworking people.
To me, okay, so because to me, when you say living wage, is actually what I have after all that to pay. So after all that
No,
comes
no,
out,
no, no. That's not
what
a
is
living
that?
wage.
That's what I'm
A
saying.
living wage keeps up or exceeds inflation.
No, but that's
So,
what I mean. So that's what I was about to say. So to me, what I have after the taxes and all that, that's not considered a living wage because then I got to decide. Okay, I got to pay rent this time. I got to pay lights. I got to pay gas. Something ain't gonna get paid because that's not even enough for
well,
me to
well,
survive off
listen,
of.
listen. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. That's what I'm trying to get the people on the live to understand. Number one, you have to elevate. If you're making minimum and you're barely surviving, we've got to do something to increase income or reduce spending. Those are the only two ways that you're going to get to a better place. You got to increase income or reduce spending. The choice is up to every individual. But if you're committed to doing those two things, then gradually you'll pull yourself out. See, a lot of people believe that, well, in order for me to change my living conditions, I got to get lucky. I got to hit the lottery. Hey, the lottery I ain't never met nobody that ever hit it. But I see on the TV that people hit it, but I ain't never met nobody. So I don't even believe in that. But anyway, we can't live in a fictitious world and think that things are going to change without us making that change. Most people are working two to three jobs, which I don't agree with. I don't think anybody should have to do that because
I had to
my
stop that.
definition, huh?
I had to stop that.
Yeah, because my definition of being having a good life is having enough money for survival, leisure, coupled with a peace of mind. If you're not making enough money, you're not going to be happy at all. You understand? You got to have enough income so that you can sustain yourself, survive, and have leisure because we're all built on rewards and punishment. That's just the way we're built. When we earn money, we want to reward ourselves. And keep in mind, everybody online, I'm not talking about people who are just ignorant and just go buck wild with money. I'm talking about honest people who are trying to change their income levels and their quality of life. So those two things have to happen. if you increase your income or reduce your spending. And it took me a long time to want to do it, But when I finally had the opportunity to meet with some some people who really understood it, then I saw a lot of money that I was spending. I was spending money that was, you don't even think about it because you do it out of habit. You know, smoking cigarettes. You know, you buy if
We
you
had
smoke,
that up that one time. I was like, damn, we dog.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was a lot.
you spend $10 a pack. You smoke a pack a day. That's $70, right? So that's $280 a month just in cigarettes.
Times 12.
Yeah,
Times
yeah.
12.
So there are a lot of things, and I just use that as an example. You know, uh, we're gonna do what we want to do, but that's just an example to show you where you can find money that you really can save and change your habits. Now, we have to understand what poverty is. The clinical definition is that poverty is a state uh, or condition in which one lacks the financial resources and essentials for a meaningful standard of living. A meaningful standard of living. Everyone, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, deserves to be able to live a free and happy life, free from worrying about whether or not they, as DeJoya said, pay the light bill or buy groceries. That's ridiculous. Everyone should be able to do that. But we know that's not the case. So when we talk about income inequality, we just can't stop there. And the only thing that means is that the how unevenly income is distributed throughout a population. And we know we have a great dispersion of wealth in this country. That's unfair. Where the 1% of the people are the richest and the other 99% are poor.
Are
So
we the
that's
only country that's like that? Because while we talking about this, you know, and I think this is a great topic. It's been informative to me. Just a little short time we've been talking now, because like I hear like Canada, places like Canada, like Sweden and stuff like that.
Germany.
Oh, Germany, like they don't live like we do. You know, just like because we have an open enrollment, so you know, a lot of people know what I'm talking about. That means purchasing your insurance or making your elections for the next year. So you know, you give me a $5-10 raise, but insurance go up 15 20 $30. You know, so I mean, and it's things, you know, now that we have to have. Why is it that in the US we don't get, and I'm just asking y'all, so don't be up in my comments in my
Right, right,
inbox.
right.
But why don't we in the US get that? I would much rather have my medical care paid for and things like that versus me having to come out of pocket. But then I would be okay to live. I would be okay to this. So why is it that we're one of the few countries, I don't know about, or to be the only country, but why is this not always around the board, across the board
Well,
about?
well, the thing is, I'll use this as an example. I think I said this before, but when I was in Germany, uh, I had what they call local nationals. Those are the local people that work for us when you're in the military. And we employ a certain number of people just showing respect for being in their country, which makes sense. And if the females or a woman got pregnant, she could take off during that pregnancy. And don't quote me, I'm just trying to recall it. But the medical and her job was secure.
The
So
same job or just a job at
the
that company?
same job, the same job. So if she got pregnant, she had a year post and part, before and after. So you got a year off to take care of your baby. Well, you got a year to prep for your baby. Then you got a year after the baby's born. I think that's a great way to
God
treat
dog.
the citizens. Huh?
That's a god dog.
Yeah, yeah. And you don't have to worry about, you know how here in the United States, if you get pregnant or if you get hurt, you run the risk of losing your job. You know
Right,
what I
right,
mean?
right, right, right.
And it's perfectly legal. But here's the other kicker. We are one of the richest countries on the planet. So
But we're a
why
corporate.
is
We can
not
sit out, but
done?
you know why? I thought about it. Why you saying that? Because I had this conversation with the Uber driver. Like the United States out there, it's like a corporation. It's run like a business. I mean,
That's
I don't.
exactly what it is. But hey,
This
we
is
about to get
business.
deep now. I don't want to go into how it's set up. Let's
Oh,
just keep
sorry,
it general because now you
but
speak masonically, and we got to start talking about the structure of the government
I,
and why
I didn't.
Washington
I
D.C.
didn't
is the
mean that.
capital.
But I'm just
Yeah,
saying, stop, Kobe. I'm just saying, like, and it's crazy, and we don't think like that. We just puns in this big old. Well, you say I can't go there. I'm sorry, sorry. Well, I almost went
hey,
there, but it's
but you
crazy.
you you were touching on some good points, but and I just want to kind of keep it. We can have a
Okay, let me hear
conversation.
her. I'm going to timeout.
Yeah, but I mean, you talking now. You get me rolling because I really want to start talking about it, but I don't. We won't do it because we want to talk about this property thing. So we have to
But that's
understand,
fine.
huh?
But the reason what, but I'm saying the reasons why all this, why I'm talking about all this and bringing this up is because why some of us will never, and I say us as a people, as a nation, will never get above the poverty line. Because now, what was the poverty line years ago? People think they live in the life, and they actually are living in poverty. If you really take and think about stuff, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but it's true.
yeah.
No, what you're saying is true, but different topics. We gotta focus on poverty right now because if you get
Okay.
That's
into
what
the
I'm
whole
talking about.
structure, yeah, the
Oh
whole
yeah.
business structure, United States, it gets crazy.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're
Okay.
right. I just said you're right. I just said you exactly right. I said you're right. Yeah, no,
Well,
you're
we
right.
won't talk about none of that in the orange
Okay.
person.
All right. Because now understanding what poverty is, we have to understand the difference between a living wage versus a minimum wage. To be honest, I don't believe anyone should be living below the poverty line. Nobody. Now listen, well, I don't mean that nobody that has shown that they don't want anything better in their life. I'm talking about the ones that do. So let's be clear, because I don't care. You can give some people $1 million and they'll be broke tomorrow. You can put somebody in a mansion and they'd rather go sleep on the streets. We're not talking about those people. All right, there's going to be exceptions to any rule. And minimum wage just keeps us below the poverty line. It does not keep up with inflation and it does not encourage lifestyle changes. Never. And it never will, especially in the United States. And
Mm,
it's the wealthiest country on the planet.
of damn
Now, let
land.
me say this: the Fair Labor Standards Act that was formed in 1930, it was the response to the Great Depression. Now, I'm just throwing this out because, listen, every time we have an issue, there's always our congressional bodies, our leadership has the ability to make changes. So if we ain't changed nothing since the 1930s, and the reason that act was placed into action was because of the response to the Great Depression, then we lost. I mean, the 1930s is why the Fair Labor Act was constructed. That established the minimum wage. So if we still working on some 1930 depression ish, then I know more than poor people or people who are concerned have taken notice that the minimum wage is not keeping up, right?
Right.
So I'm just not getting it. But listen, I'm sure the intent was good during the 1930s. I'm sure it was good. But as a result of that, here we are now. The poorest people are negatively affected because of that. The main reason is because deep down inside, we all know we deserve better. Any human being know that they deserve to have shelter, food, clothing, and at least a piece of enjoyment in their
The
lives.
basic necessities of life should not be a struggle to have. It shouldn't be a question if we as a people or we as a nation should have the basic necessities of life. And a lot of people don't get that. Um you know, and I'm talking about this, and I'm about to say this because
Now, be
what we're
careful
going
now. Be careful.
I'm trying to tread lightly because I've been reading Malcolm X, but what we're going through right now, not and this is on topic because we're talking about poverty and this, that, and the third, and this is why we'll never be able to escape poverty is because those in the government and those in those high seats don't are not dealing with that at this time. They don't care, that the shutdown that we're in is gonna shoot that poverty level up because it's not only gonna affect what's happening in the government, but it's about to affect the schools. It's about to affect the way kids eat, the way kids learn, all of this stuff, making it possible for poverty to thrive. If we can't learn, if we can't enhance, then we're gonna always be at that poverty level. you know and then we don't think about a lot of the programs that were started. I'm about to go, I'm not going to go here, but I'm going to say it. Like the free lunch program, and we talk about the things within the Great Depression, and other things that we were suffering, not just as a people or as a community ourselves, but everybody was suffering for that. The Black Panther started the free lunch program, things like that, that we're gonna have a problem and not have it all. So
Hey,
when you go below the poverty level, which is where we about to go, what then? We
yeah,
about to
well, the thing is, there's always hope. This is what I hate when people always say, "Well, let's do something about it." Ain't no let's do nothing. You understand? Because ain't nobody doing nothing.
nope.
And people say that, hey, the reason you're like that is because you're always talking about how somebody kept you down. You're always talking about this. That has nothing to do with anything.
Yep.
All right. So all of that sounds good around the water cooler, and it makes it seem like you standing on principle and all of that stuff, but you ain't really standing on nothing because you don't understand anything. Because there are enough people in the world and enough people in the communities, if they had the education, if they had the desire to change things, they don't have to say anything about it. They'll just do
They
it.
can just do it.
So now, that's just a bunch of crap, man.
Yeah.
We do what we say, we do what we can masonically to assist people who are in distressed positions and people who,
Right.
wherever we see somebody in need. But that's onesies and twosies. If you're inside a system that doesn't have that same mentality, then the majority and the masses of the people are going to be underserved.
But
That's
they
just the
know
way
that the
it
fear,
is.
people know the powers that be, or whatever you call them people, they know that the fear of things will keep people where they are. That's why you can't be afraid to talk about, topics like this, or you can't be afraid.
We ain't.
Um, huh?
And we ain't afraid.
Yeah. Or you can't be afraid to be, you can't try to make a difference. You can't try this. You have to be the difference. I tell kids that all the time. I don't say if you're a part of the problem. If you are part of the problem, then you're not having a solution. So if you can't do this, then you're gonna stay right there. So
Yeah.
I think that that's a big factor too as well.
Let me make this point. When people are placed in a position of deprivation and they give up, then they assume that is the best that they can do.
Yeah.
So when people are neglected, when people are below the poverty line, only thing I got to do is give you a little bit more than what you had, and you're going to be satisfied. I'm saying you have to become, what did I say, DeJoy? Uncomfortable. You have to get uncomfortable sometimes.
But that's the leverage right now. That's the leverage right now when we talking
Yeah.
about the poverty level. They know that, you know, if you talk about the food stamps, the Section 8, the all this, they know that that's the fear, that's the leverage that they have. But what happened to back in the day when your parents grew gardens and, you know, everybody got together, okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
have dinner with Miss Susie. Miss Susan, you gonna do dinner this week, and then you know I know because I went through that in my neighborhood. I could go to Miss Kitty house, I could go to Miss Fanny house, and but they kids could come there. You know, so because they have managed to break down that family entity, that family togetherness, or that what do you call it? Not the unity, not unity. Yeah, because they have managed to break down, you know, that unity. They know this, so that's a key
But
factor when
see,
it
here's the
contributes to
thing.
poverty.
Here's the thing. Evil is going to lurk and things are going to happen. No one has really taken a stance, and you don't need leaders. You
Mm-mm.
don't need a bunch of people to affect the difference in this. People have to change the way that they think. So when I control your mind, when I get you to think a certain way about a certain thing, then
Right,
you give your power to me.
right.
So you have to take back your power to understand it. As you just said, I grew up the same way. Uh, my grandmother had chickens and milk and all of these different
Yeah, my
things.
grandmama had
The
killed my little
food was
pig.
good, and she would feed anybody in the community, and
Yeah,
everybody in the community reciprocated that. So that is some of the fear that a lot of people may have, and do not want that type of attitude and thinking to come back. But I don't believe. I believe it's inevitable. That's just my feel. But anyway, you know, the reason that people behave the way that they behave is because deep down inside they know that they deserve better. Psychologically, we know that we are worthy of a good life. Everyone,
oh
everyone knows that deep down inside. And sometimes we do it, and we don't have to do it intentionally. We
yeah,
look
right.
at other people and we compare ourselves. So that's one reason that we stay below the poverty line, because we've got to divorce ourselves of comparing ourselves to other people and put ourselves in a better place by virtue of our understanding and changing our thinking. What's the key? When you teetering right on the poverty line, the way to get out is to either increase your income or decrease your spendings. Those are the only ways. Ain't no lottery. Ain't nobody gonna get lucky. But there are some small baby steps that people can take to change their lives drastically. And because it takes a while, most people don't want to do it. Because we, in a technology world that we live in, with everything is so rapid and so fast, we want these changes to occur quickly. And when they don't, then we become discouraged. All right? Now, what keeps people below the poverty line is a lack of education, of financial responsibilities, and investment choices. I don't care what you got to do, you have to make smart investment choices. Now, I'm not going to say, I was in the streets and did all kind of stuff, and I learned how to maneuver. So I'm not advocating doing anything illegal or anything like that. I'm just saying do whatever you need to do, because you need to change your position. You need to change your position. And if you don't have opportunities, then you got to create those opportunities. That's what I
But
did.
that's
That's
just
what I
that,
did.
and that's just the thing. Like a lot of people feel like, things should just be given to them. Just like respect. Respect is not. Respect has to be earned, and things you do have to be earned. Not only do you have to earn a living, but then you gotta earn. You gotta earn. You gotta earn a lot of other things too. People forget those things. They don't
Oh
want to
yeah.
have to earn anything. They want everything to just be given, and you're not gonna do that because you're not gonna appreciate it. You're gonna be back in the same place you were in if everybody just gave everything to you, kind of like. So that's where I am with that.
Yeah. Yeah, but the main thing is that we have to realize that people not educated. So if you don't have any choice in investments or any opportunities, then you're not going to learn about investments. That's just a fact. So you got to have opportunities, and someone has to present those opportunities to you. So
Right.
again, spending habits are a major key because most common-minded people spend money trying to look wealthy, while wealthy people spend money trying to make more money. Let me say that again. Common minded people spend a lot of time trying to look wealthy. Wealthy people spend astronomical amounts of time trying to create more wealth. Do y'all agree with that or no?
Yep, cause them Walmart shoes gonna get you the same place them $300 Nikes did, cause you gonna put them on your feet and walk. Just make sure you get the right size. I'm just saying.
Look,
I don't learn that. I'm
look,
like, mm-mm.
if I should be so lucky to get uh, let's say tomorrow I wake up and I got an extra $1 million. Why would I go buy $1 million car or $1 million chain? That's what we do.
I
Those
be
are
thinking people just not you. I don't know. Sometimes I be thinking people not used to stuff. Like I know somebody. I mean, and I can't make this up, and we're not gonna say no names because you know what I'm talking about. I know somebody with 3 closets full of shoes, but I'm like, how do you wear? And they brag about, oh, I only wear one pair of shoes one time during the year. What the
Hey, but
hell?
listen, that's what I'm talking about. That mentality. Why is that something to brag about? That I only wear one pair of shoes. I only wore these one time in 100 years. That don't make sense. Why
And
buy
then,
me?
and then my thing is, you walk around and say you broke. If you sell all them shoes and then some of them Coach bags you got up there in that clock, baby, you gonna be all right. I don't understand that.
But
You can't
it's a
even enjoy that.
mentality. It's a poor man's mentality.
Yeah.
So, as I said, most common-minded people spend their money trying to look wealthy. They are more
Right.
concerned. They are more concerned. They're more concerned by showing it by purchasing material things so everyone can see it. That's the difference. They want everyone to see that they have money.
Yeah.
Wealthy people don't care. Matter of fact, they don't even want you to know that they have
Well, that's the big thing. You can't see the wealth that people have, but hey, but it's there. You know what I'm saying? You when you find out it's there, you think, oh my God, I ain't know he lived in this house. I ain't know I've heard a lot of people say that.
money.
Oh, I didn't know they lived in it. Ooh, why they live in this house? Or because people think because you have because I work in the school system, y'all, and it
Thank
hurt me
you
the
for the
other day
gift.
to hear. It hurt me the other
Thank you for the
day.
gift.
Yeah, it hurt me the other day to hear this. Somebody made a comment. Oh, them two kids, they money late, or they don't have no money on their account. Guess where they live? Right over there. That don't mean that just because they live over there. Maybe their parents didn't know. Maybe their parents inherited that home. Maybe stop making assumptions about people. We don't know.
And
You know what I'm
just
saying?
because you think that they have money doesn't mean that they have.
Yeah, and a lot of people live different places for their kids to have certain opportunities, even though it might be above. I mean, they consider that to be the struggle. Hey, I want my kids to have this, that, so I'm living here, or I'm doing this. But my thing, with people, and it bothers me a lot with kids and with people that can't really, speak up for themselves. People think, well, they don't deserve this because of this, or you can't do that, because you can't do that. That's another reason why we remain in the poverty,
Well,
that we're too busy worried about the Joneses when we
well,
should be worried about ourselves.
okay. Well, that's a good point, and that's another problem that we have in minority communities. Most other communities, they not plagued with these type of problems. But so let's get to how do we change it. To start, the first way to get out of poverty is to change the way that we think, and secondly, to change our spending habits. I just eat out 3-4 times a week, and just spend frivolously, and I still do in some cases, but it's all within my means. So I may buy that expensive bottle of cognac, but I know when to buy it. I'm not buying it every week, even though I have the money to do so, because we have to know how to subdue our passion to things and understand what is the most effective way to maintain a certain quality of life. And I guarantee you, when you get this understanding, it ain't got nothing to do with impressing other people. That's the furthest thing from your mind, because once you elevate your thinking, you don't really care too much about what people think. Right now, you're concerned with how you're viewed by people, how people see us. If we don't have certain things, how people are going to treat us. And don't get me wrong, people treat people differently when they have a certain position or for certain level of wealth in this country. So there is a difference, but that's not true for the vast majority of people. All right. So these two things that I just mentioned, changing our thinking and changing our spending habits, those are well within our control. Remember, when I first started, I said we can't worry about things we can't control. Those two things we can control. Most of the things common-minded people purchase are things that they don't need anyway. You just said it. A closet full of shoes, and I ain't wore every pair but one time out of every month. What kind of sense does that make? None at all. I love sneakers. I love my Stacey Adams, but I guarantee you, I
And
don't.
your watches.
And my watches,
That's
but
your
I don't.
guilty pleasure.
But this is over time. It ain't like
Yeah.
some of the stuff, and I'm glad that's why I try to stay in a little bit of shape, because some of the clothes I've had when I was 30, I still can wear. So I buy quality
Don't
stuff.
tell that lie.
It is the truth. Shut up.
I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me.
Oh, I thought you were talking about it. I was like, no,
I
that's
ain't gonna tell that lie.
yeah, but I'm just saying that sometimes you have to think that way so that you can get ahead, particularly when you know that you are teetering on that line of where I've got to decide to pay this versus paying that. So it's easy as you know how easy it is once you really start thinking about certain things and changing the way that you think, man, things just start lining up for you.
I'm just gonna tell y'all now. And he with and that's why he telling y'all that, because I have said something. We'll be talking on the phone and I'll be like, such and such and such and such and such, and he'll call me back like 10 minutes later. You not remember when you just said this happened, this happened. Or, I'll be telling him we'll discuss something about business, and I'll be like, you know what, I told him I ain't worried about this and I ain't worried about that, and I got, and I got an Uber to go here and whatever. But my bank account never run out.
That's
Not
exactly
because
right.
not because some things we do frivolously. I got my guilty pleasures too, but I can truly say when I started thinking like that, my bank account has never run out. I've always been able to get from point A to point B, and trust me, when I say something, he'll be like, "Don't you say nothing else, because when
Yeah.
you say,
And because
it'll it,
it's the thinking. It's
yeah,
the
it's
thinking
manifestations,
that
right?
commands. When you think a certain way, it commands you to fall in alignment. When
Yep.
you, as I said last week, if you say, "Well, I don't think I can do that," you've already said that it's not possible for it to happen. So
Oh yeah.
your words are powerful. Make sure that you're very selective in what you say and who
And
you
if you
say it
think
to.
it, and look, if you think it, you might as well say it. I try to even control my thoughts, because I know me.
Hey, what'd you just say? If you think it, you might as well say
If you
it.
think it, you might as well say it. Because when you
Oh yeah,
think it,
yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
your thoughts are a voice too. Because
yeah,
if
that's
you
true.
thinking about
That's
it,
true.
you could easily say your thoughts out loud, or if it's just in your head or whatever, it's there. It's in your universe. It's in your, you know, it's in your spirit. Especially if you're a spiritual person. I'm a spiritual person, and I'm careful about that. So you have to make those changes all around. You can't change your physical self without changing your spiritual self. You can't be strong without all of that being strong, and your spiritual self got to be stronger than anything else. So I've gotten to that point, when I'm thinking about things or changing my lifestyle or changing my way. I revamp that every day.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That part every day.
But like I was saying, and yeah, I appreciate that because that is true, the joy. Listen, like I said, most people, most common-minded people, they don't buy things that they need. They buy things that they want because they want it to be seen. All right? And I understand it all, so I don't judge anybody. I know what habits will keep a person in a position where they don't change their financial condition, but if that's how they choose to live their lives, then I'm not here to judge them. But it's common knowledge that most people without money, they want to be seen. It does something for their ego. It does something for their self-esteem. Rightly so. Everybody wants to feel that they are worth something. And I agree. Everybody should feel that way. But mentally, once you start changing the way that you think, then your self worth is never in doubt because you know that we're all created by the same grand architect of the universe, and everything that we go through, there's a purpose, there's a reason, and there's a season. So it doesn't mean we're going to be there all the time. So we have to be patient. Like the Baptist people say, wait on the Lord. We have to be patient. But at the same time, you have to do something to affect change in your life. Now, the reason that people can't get past the poverty line is because they place value in the things that they buy rather than placing value in themselves. They place value in the things that they buy. So why people buy fake jewelry? But they want it to look real. Because if it looks real, it gives them added value. And it makes them feel good about themselves. Right? Everybody can't, what's they call Zubik, zirconia, what is it called? You muted out.
We talk about the cubic zirconiums,
Yeah,
fake
yeah.
diamonds, cubic zirconium.
Yeah, yeah. So they buy those things, right? Because it makes them feel good, but they know they can't afford any real. You look at people's persona, look where they live, look how they act. You can tell whether or not it's real or not, and that's not true in all cases, but 99.9% of the time, you can tell whether or not somebody's sporting some real diamonds, some VVS's, and some real rough cut diamonds from Kenya and the Congo. All right. So they use that to evaluate their worth. And that's the thing that keeps them in problem. We're all built on punishment and reward, so we want to reward ourselves when we get money. But excessive spending will always keep us poor. Excessive. Man, it got to be 10 times 10. I buy $100,000 watch, I got to have $10 million in the bank. That's how it goes. I don't need it if I just got $1 million, because now I'm not a millionaire anymore. Right? If we've created financial foundations that cover our survival needs and our need for pleasure and leisure, then it's okay to do whatever. But you got to build that foundation first. And plus, there's so many ways to make money nowadays. Man, if I had the opportunity, I would have been a billionaire. If I would have had the opportunity with this internet, with this e-commerce, with this ride sharing, with these stores that you don't need a brick and mortar for, and the financial, just consulting and all of these different things.
Oh yeah, the money is out there to rise
It's
above.
out there.
Yeah, I just got invited to be a brand ambassador for Amazon. I'm like, shing shing, so you
That's how you
gotta
do it.
yeah, you gotta just and I'm gonna say, when we're talking about poverty, the main thing behind that is fear. Like if he's saying that we had all them opportunities, but you don't know how long we had, and I'd be like, oh, I'm scared to do this. Like when we first started doing We Talk, I was like, oh, I'm not getting on camera. Last time I was on camera was with American Rap Makers, and I just can't do it, and I can't, and he just threw me out there. He threw me to the wolves, y'all. But since then, like I've been groomed and I just hit the ground running. Now I got I have streams of income through all the social media platforms, and now Amazon, and I have a partnership with HelloFresh. I've paused it for a while, but if you want it, it's out there. You just got to be able to grab it, and I'll be back with HelloFresh soon. But like I said, if you want it, you just got to grab it. I can sit at home. I don't really worry about a lot of things. Yeah, I have my 9 to 5 job, but I can sit at home. I make more money with just sitting at home doing things I'm happy with than I make on my job. So,
There you
you
go.
got to get to that point where you're not
You got the
afraid.
secrets. You figured
Yeah,
out
you're
the
not
secrets.
afraid. That part.
Yeah. Hey, but listen, in all seriousness, and all BS aside, this is what I believe, and this is what I've been able to do successfully. My belief is when a group of people who have limited funds, it's easier to change your way of living and your financial position if they pool their money together. If they pool their money and their resources together, it's easy for everybody to be very successful and change their lifestyle very quickly. Now, here's the key. You got to get away from all them fakers, them jokers and brokers and all them people who really is just talking the talk but can't walk the walk. It takes a little while to find the sort of people that I'm talking about, but they're out there. You have to be diligent. You have to search for people who really are about their business and they really want to help you and they aren't afraid of anything. There are people that exist like that. I'm one of them. So you have to find people who are willing to give you that assistance and they don't want anything in return. Of course, they're going to eat if you eat, but they're more concerned with you being successful. All right? That's the way it's done. Now, we always hear that minority members won't come together or won't support each other. See, you fell for it again. Most people believe that and they repeat it. Just like before you found out that Uncle Tom was not that person that people say was snitching on people and selling people out. He was one of the guys that really was helping everybody. The Sambo guy was the one that was the Uncle Tom and the house Negro and all of those things. So when you hear things and you repeat them and you're not knowing the truth, it's easy for you to become victim to the same thing that you preach against. So they say that they won't come together. I beg to differ. There are a lot of groups that I know that I'm involved with. Brotherly love, a shared humanity, who really want people to do well. There are people out there. I'm not the only one that's been so blessed to meet these people, or vice versa. There are many of them out there. But if you fall for the banana in the tailpipe, nah, they don't. I hear it on the Facebook all the time and TikTok and everywhere, and I just shake my head because they don't know any better. So they will come together. You have to find the right ones that are willing and are ready and able. All right. Now, listen. The people that I'm talking about, they don't do like most people that you may have been in contact with or run across. They don't stress people out. They don't stress each other out at all. They're considerate enough to create situations that covers and extends to all of us. In other words, if my circle, the medium salary is $100,000, I'm not going to take a $10 million project to them where it's going to cost them $70,000 to get in. That's the consideration and that's the love. Because if I were to do that, that's going to stress them out financially. They only have $30,000 left. So it has to have some type of common sense in the investment approach so that it's affordable to everyone within the group. Now, we may work on that project, but instead of me coming or them coming to me next week saying we need the money in 2 weeks, we may have to say, this is a good project. We're going to get started, and we expect to spend X amount of dollars per month for the next 24 months or the next 36 months. And then you forget about it. And trust and believe when I'm telling you, I've done some investments and done some things where I've forgotten about it, and I get a statement in the mail, or I remember, and the accumulation of profit makes you smile. Now, if I was stressed and I had to invest what I need to live and to have leisure in my life, I'll be checking for it every day because I need that money. So I say all that to say you find people who understand this concept. They shouldn't bring you a project where it's going to stress you out to participate financially and cause you to be more in a distressful situation. So we don't stress each other out. If we're working on a project, and this is just my small circle of friends, if we're working on a project and one of the members of our group is not financially able at the time and the others are, we make that investment so we don't miss the opportunity. We make that investment. We don't say, well, we'll go ahead and do it, but hey, you can't participate in this now because you don't have the money. No, that's not love. That's not the way that we move. We
Yeah,
make the investment.
I mean, yeah, because you can't. You have to get to a point where you rise above and you realize that you can't keep climbing to the top but still looking down. And you got to be able to pull somebody up. I mean, because at the same time, I can't be mad if we're doing something and you may be a little bit better at it than me. I'm gonna take the time to learn from you. You know what I mean? And there's so many times that we're afraid to do that. We're afraid to be in those circles. Oh, well, I don't want them to know more than me. I don't want them to know, more than me. No, it ain't about that. Because if you share your knowledge, then all y'all got the knowledge. All y'all got the jewels. Now you
Absolutely.
can't be
Hey,
the
but
smart.
see, hey, I didn't mean to cut you off, but these people feel that they lose something by you having the same knowledge. Or they don't understand that you become more powerful if you share that information with other people. You can work on other situations. Somebody wanted to join, but I couldn't see it.
My thing is, if I'm the smartest one in my circle, then I'm in the wrong circle. If you the smartest one in your circle, you need to get another circle. You can't keep allowing that to happen. You can't be afraid for someone to have more knowledge than you. Everybody need to pull their knowledge together so you have the wisdom to do A, B, and C. Know the difference. I mean,
Yes,
it's
yes,
that.
yes, indeed. Yes, Lord. You got that right. But listen, so what I'm saying is that in my particular circle and the way that most of us are, I'm not going to say most of us, but some of us are retired military and we've traveled the world. So we've seen some things. We've been in Desert Storm, Desert Shield. So we've seen some things and we understand what the most important things in life is. And we can get to this money all day long. So we're good. And that's the way we treat each other. So we don't take that individual and say, no, you don't have the money, so you can't participate. We put it up and he gets his equal share regardless. Because there's going to come a time, I believe in keeping my karma right. And Keith and DeJoya, they'll tell you, I believe in doing the right thing. Because whether or not somebody sees me doing it or not, it doesn't matter. It does good for my spirit and for my creator. All right? So we'll do that and know, because I know some people thinking, no, they don't pay us back. No, we don't take their part of the profit because we're all good. There's no need for us to ask for, now if we don't have suckers in our situation where somebody knows that we give freely like that, so they're going to take advantage of it. Anybody can recognize a sucker. Anybody can recognize somebody's trying to take advantage of the situation. We don't have those issues because we've carefully crafted our circle of friends. They're
Right.
investors. There are people who live in $1 million homes. There are people who go to the best of schools with their children and got lavish homes, all of these different things. But they know where they fit in their lives. They ain't jumping out the window if they lose their mansion or they lose $100,000. All right. So that's the thing. Find those people. And if you don't do that, if you start on your own, just find and use tax advantage accounts. It takes a little bit more research, but I'm giving it to you, tax advantage accounts. You can use the internet and find out about it, but they will save you some money. All right. You pool your mind with like-minded people. Stop thinking people won't support you. That's just something somebody put out there and everybody's falling for the banana in the tailpipe. There are people who will support you. There are people who are like-minded, searching for an individual just like you. So just look for those people. I'm almost certain that people you were dealing with when you heard that, they weren't the right people. They were just the wrong people. Ensure those people are spiritual and they're aware and they're good-hearted people. Those are the ones that work because they've elevated their thinking past their own selfish egos and egotistical desires to be the one. So find someone who is spiritually aware. Now, how you do that? That's the next question. It's easy. Just watch how people live. Watch how they speak. Watch how they address you and treat other people. All you got to do is observe. If you observe a person, I give it the 72-hour rule. If you can observe somebody for 72 hours and you can see them under pressure, you can see them when they're happy, you can see them when they're sad. You can see them when they're destitute. And you can see them when they have something. Wait till a payday and start from that payday. You'll be able to see and tell whether or not that's one person you need to even think about for inclusion into your circle. Right? And don't look at people who already got a bunch of money and a bunch of resources. That's not just the ticket. It's not just that. Because 9 times out of 10, those people who have the money and have the resources and don't have a spiritual awareness of their creator and goodness in their heart to do good, they're going to manipulate you and use you. We don't want those people in our lives, period. They're going to help you. They'll give you money. But remember I said, there's a difference between good debt and bad debt. They're going to help you create some bad debt. And it's going to be to them. So make sure you find the right people. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're about out of time, so I'm going to open it up to my co-host real quick. If they don't have anything, I'm going to conclude, and we can keep on. If you all would want us to continue this particular topic, because we've got some deep stuff and some financial experts and people in our circle that we can really get some answers for you. All right? So do y'all have anything you want to add, DeJoya and Keith?
I was good today. I was a student today.
Well, that's good. That's good.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, in conclusion, change your mindset, change your circle, and change your spending habits. Change your mindset of the way that you think. Change the people in your circle, them crabs who ain't interested in doing nothing but making sure you keep them company. Get rid of them people and change the way you spend your money. It may take a little while, but I guarantee you, you'll start seeing results and you'll rise above it. Education, because a lot of people will say, hey, we need to educate first. That's not my philosophy. If you change these things, then the education will come through the process of changing. All right? Oh man, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed it. But anyway, thank you all for joining. We're going to sign off. Auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, au revoir,
And
goodbye,
bye.
and we'll see you all next Wednesday. Take care.
Right, guys. Peace.
All right.